One of the things that I think about a lot is the idea of faith. I mean, it's obviously an important concept to Christians, right? I actually think it's a really important concept for just human flourishing in general. But I am just really fascinated by this idea of faith. But I also feel that it's often very, very misunderstood. In fact, I'm not sure how I would have answered the question if somebody asked me to define faith.
Is of faith.
We can turn to the critics of religious faith that I think will illustrate for us what this mistake is. So Richard Dawkins sort of famously said that faith is the great cop-out, the great excuse to evade the need to think and evaluate evidence. Faith is belief in spite of, even perhaps because of, the lack of evidence. My favorite example of this is Mark Twain's, where he has his schoolboys say, faith is believing what you know ain't so, right? It's awesome. That's an awesome way to put it. I mean, again, it's a mischaracterization of faith, but I think that it's so lyrical and I love it. Peter Boghossian is, for me, the most obnoxious of folks who mischaracterize faith.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Faith is a delusion. 1, 2, 3. Are we good to go? Yeah.
He puts it as that faith is pretending to know things you don't know. Boghossian goes on to say that faith is belief without evidence, or he calls it a flawed epistemology. Now, we want to be more than a little suspicious of turning to the critics of religious faith in order to understand faith, but I do think that each of these illustrate an important mistake. Notice that in each of them, they are identifying faith as a kind of belief, and I think that's just a mistake. It's a mistake to think of faith as mere belief. Now, faith might require beliefs. I'm fine there. I think that's actually quite plausible. If you're going to place faith in something, then obviously you need to believe that it exists and believe certain things about it. I think this is why theology matters, of course. But the mistake is to think of faith as mere belief. Right? To think of faith, this what is so important to us as Christians, to think that all that we're called to is to just have certain beliefs, to think that that's what the Bible is telling us to do, I think you're just not reading the Bible. I mean, after all, right? James tells us even the demons believe, so it can't be just mere belief. I think that beliefs in a way are just too easy. They're just too thin. They're just too easy to come by to really support the pressure that our human relationships of faith have to bear. I mean, these are like the most important things to us. So think of the relationship of faith between a child and a parent. That cannot be boiled down to just a set of beliefs or something like that, or the faith that is had in the context of a marriage. These are like the richest relationships, the most profound and important relationships to us. And obviously beliefs are involved, but it goes far, far deeper than that. There's a funny clip, kind of an older clip, but it was a debate between Richard Dawkins and John Lennox. And at some point they begin to discuss faith.
When you say faith is rational and evidence-based, I mean, if that were true, it wouldn't need to be faith, would it? I mean, if there were evidence for it, why would you need to call it faith? You'd say just evidence. We only need to use the word faith when there isn't any evidence.
True. Presume you've got faith in your wife. Is there any evidence for that? On
Yes,
which you
plenty.
base it? Yes.
Plenty of evidence. Let's generalize it. Never mind about my wife. Let's
It's the same with mine, Richard. It's the same with mine.
He starts off saying that if it's evidence-based, it wouldn't need to be faith. Oh, really? Well, how about faith in your wife? And that's the point, that faith in this, especially in this sort of general sense, right? It again, it's this crucial relationship that we bear to various ones in our life, various things in our life, right? It's those things that we depend upon, that we entrust ourselves to. And faith as such is essential to our well-being, right? So it's not a mere belief. It is, in a way, a commitment we make to someone or something. So if you want kind of a rough and ready definition of faith, I would suggest to think of faith as ventured trust, right? It's where we venture ourselves on someone or something. And again, faith as such is something of a virtue. It's something of a moral virtue. So this is not a religious thing even, right? I think faith in this general sense is something that we all have. We can't get through life without placing faith in people and faith in things. Again, a child has to place faith in their parent at some point. For a marriage to be successful, you're going to have to place faith. I mean, huge faith in the other person. We even place faith in like our boss or our coworkers. We place faith in the police and our government officials and so on. Like, we really can't get through life without placing faith. And that includes atheists and again, the critics of religious faith. They're still placing faith, right? They're still people of faith. We all are. You have to be. That's the point. In order to flourish in life, you have to be a person of faith. Now, with that understanding of faith, what's interesting is that we can think about times in which we should place faith and we shouldn't place faith. There are definitely times in which we place faith when we shouldn't have, right? It's not a good idea. So is blind faith possible? I think it's possible, or at least a kind of irrational faith. We've all probably placed faith in a vehicle, in a car. It's not running well, but that's the way in which we're getting across town or getting to where we need to go, and we find ourselves on the side of the road. We probably have also placed faith in a friend, in another person, knowing that they will very likely let us down, and we were right. They let us down. So this provides a nice way to think of the role of evidence and reason for faith, right? A big part of life is to figure out who we should trust. What are the right kinds of things to trust, and for the right reasons? A lot of parenting is this. It's teaching our kids in whom and in what they should place faith. It's really kind of a fat chance that we stumble into trusting the right kinds of things unless we do it intentionally and unless we're very thoughtful about it. And I would say this, we can say that faith is a virtue when we have really good reasons to place faith in that thing. When that thing, that person has proven themselves to be trustworthy, or we might say faith-worthy, then that's virtuous. It's virtuous to place faith in that person or that thing. I think in the context of relationships, this shows up when there's evidence that someone is genuinely our friend, right? When they have our interest in mind and that they're willing to sort of self-sacrifice in some ways for your well-being. The more evidence you have of someone who is looking out for your well-being, again, that's the kind of person, right, in whom you want to place faith. And here comes Christian faith. The central claim of the Christian gospel is that God gave his son for us, right? So in this sense, God is the ultimate true friend. I mean, the friend in the richest of senses. I don't mean he's our homeboy or our buddy or something. I just mean that he has acted for our well-being in the biggest possible way. And if this is true, I think it really calls for us to place faith. And probably it calls for us to place our whole lives in faith on this reality. But I think we do, in fact, need reasons and evidence, if you like, to think that this is true. A person needs reasons here to venture trust, to place faith in the gospel. C.S. Lewis puts it this way. He says, I'm not asking anyone to accept Christianity if his best reasoning tells him that the weight of the evidence is against it. That is not the point at which faith comes in. The point is that it's not meant to be a blind leap. at all, right? It's something of a leap. I mean, when you place faith in anything, you take a bit of a risk, but it should be, and I think is, a quite reasonable leap. Now, we're not going to get it all figured out, of course, and I'm not saying we wait till we get it all figured out, or we wait till we get absolute certainty or anything remotely close to that. But even with that said, it's not meant to be a blind leap. Right? We do, I think we just all need, just like all instances of faith, we need to know that it is faith worthy. And all I can say is that it has proven itself to be faith worthy for me. I have found the case for the Christian gospel to be extraordinarily compelling. I have found it to be true, to be good, to be beautiful, and for that reason, I've placed faith.